When I was younger, I loved New Year's Eve. It was my favorite time to sit down, write out a list of resolutions, and dream about all the things I was going to accomplish. But let's be honest, most of those resolutions didn't last longer than a few weeks. As I got older, I started to feel like setting resolutions or goals was just a waste of time. I'd write them down, feel motivated for a little while, but then life would get busy and those goals would fade into the background. But recently, I've had a mindset shift. Let me ask you this. Have you ever planned a vacation? Think about it. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, let's go on vacation, and then poof, you're there, right? No, you pick a destination, figure out how you're going to get there, plan where you'll stay, and maybe even what you'll pack. So this year, I'm taking the same approach to my goals. Welcome to my year of change. This year, I sat down with Hank and I wrote down everything that I wanted to improve in the areas of my home, my life, and my finances. But instead of focusing on a goal for each area, I'm focusing more on how I'm going to get to that goal. I want to create systems and routines that I can put into place that are not overly complicated to be able to achieve improvement in these areas. I'm going to be sharing in videos all this year of my year of change, just documenting on how well I'm doing, if there are things I need to readjust, because when you put a plan in place or a routine or a system, you have to work it just a little bit before you really know if it's working. I don't want to just do it for a week or two and say, you know what, this just ain't it, and then just give them the whole thing. No, I need to sit down and say, okay, what is working, what isn't, and let's adjust it. I want to build a life that is fulfilling, joyful, and accomplished. Now, accomplished means a lot of things to a lot of people. Accomplished for me could mean not having any dirty dishes in the sink and having all the counters in the kitchen clean. For me, that's an accomplishment. So during this, we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to be intentional. The first thing we need to talk about are finances. And if I'm being honest, that is one of the areas in my life that really needs a lot of improvement. I have a habit of emotional spending and impulse buying. And while those purchases make me feel good in the moment, I end up holding a lot of guilt and shame and regret after I do it. My goal is simple for my finances. Spend less, save more. But simple doesn't mean easy, so I have created a roadmap to guide me. The first thing I need to tackle is my Amazon addiction, and it is an addiction. It's so easy to go on there, see things at mainly a reasonable price, click it, free shipping, and if you have Prime, a lot of times you get it in a day or two. So simple, so easy, you don't have to leave your home. So what I've done is I logged completely out of Amazon. We do have a two-factor authentication, which means if Mr. C was logged out and he logged back in, I would get a notification on my phone, and then he'd have to put in the code that was sent to me. Well, I changed it to where now the notification goes to him. So if I log in, he'll get a notification I'm trying to log in, but I can't because his phone has the code. And I thought that is going to be the perfect way for me not to log in and look at anything. But then I thought, well, I can still look. So I went ahead and blocked the site entirely so I can't even go to it. There are extensions you can use to block them. I do believe they cost money though. So I was able to get Mr. C just to totally block that website from me. I can't even go to it. But then I thought, okay, where else do I spend money that I shouldn't? And that's Walmart. I order our groceries online, and a lot of times I will put in the cart little extra things that I don't need. So logged out of that, can't go to that website anymore. And now I'm just going to sit down with Mr. C at his desk, and we can do the groceries together. That way, if I try to put something in the cart, I've told him from now on he needs to really test me and say, do you need that? And a lot of times I don't. A lot of this reflection was brought on when I was dealing with COVID in December. I was down for about 10-12 days, and all I had to do was rest. I felt terrible. I couldn't go online. Well, I could go online. I didn't go online. I didn't even go on my computer, my laptop. And I noticed that during that almost 2 weeks, my home was peaceful. I felt at peace. I didn't I didn't feel this noise or feel like all this noise was in my home. And a lot of it had to do with me not ordering stuff. Amazon wasn't showing up, FedEx, UPS, whoever. There was no influx of packages, and my home felt calm. And I liked it. I loved it. And I thought, okay, I've really got to step back and reevaluate the way I am spending. And that's when it came to me that I just don't need the temptation or the triggers. So that's why I put up those roadblocks. So now with Amazon and Walmart, I won't just go in there and shop willy-nilly. There's really only two main places I buy stuff from. I don't go into other websites because everything else is so expensive. But those two have been my kryptonite. The next thing I did was I went into my emails. I unsubscribed from all of the retailers' emails. I didn't want anything popping up tempting me. Now, once you unsubscribe, it takes a few cycles or a few emails before it finally quits. I've noticed that, but just stick with it. Even if I've unsubscribed and I get more, I keep unsubscribing even though I've already unsubscribed. But I don't need those triggers popping up in my emails. And I'm implementing no buy months. And this is January, and this is my January no buy month. The only thing I'm buying will be food, gas in the car, and paying the bills. That's it. That's it. I'm not buying anything else. And if you watch my other channel, you know I'm a reseller. So I am out thrifting a few times a week. Now, I have gained control over bringing junk into my home. If you watched me last year, maybe even the beginning of this year on this channel, I shared the stuff I hoarded and all of my clutter, and I was able to clean it out. I mean, last year at this time, I didn't have this in my living room. I didn't have a sofa. I didn't have anything. I had a lot of junk, but I didn't have this space that I could use. So I've come a long way. Even Mr. C, even my oldest son has noticed that, because I would always get them to move stuff for me. Move this downstairs, move this upstairs, move this in the closet. And they even noticed I was not bringing in all the junk from the thrift store. So I don't have a lot of triggers when I go to the thrift store now. I have really put it in my mind that when I go to the thrift store, yard sales, garage sales, state sales, I am there, I am working. And I try to look at it like this. If I were working for someone else and their reselling business, I wouldn't be spending money on wasteful things. I wouldn't be buying a bunch of junk. And that's how I want to look at it. I had a lot of triggers years ago going into the thrift store, but I don't have those now. Like I said, mine is mainly going online to Walmart and Amazon, paying off debt. I am very ashamed to admit this, but over the past maybe close to 2 years, I have racked up some debt. And the thing is, it kind of got away from me. And I kept thinking to myself, it's 0 interest. I'll have it paid off in no time. I haven't made too much of a dent in it. So this year, I'm going to pay that off. I have $3,500 of debt, impulse buying for projects ahead of time that I haven't even gotten to yet. I have materials in my utility room downstairs that I haven't used just yet. And I saved money for projects, and I used that money on projects and other materials, but then I would get so excited and get way ahead of myself and realize there's no more project money. So what I do, I got in debt for it. So I have stuff in my basement, my utility room for projects. So I need to get this paid off. I need to face this. Burying your head in the sand isn't the worst thing to do. So that is one of my #1 goals, is to get that debt paid off this year. The next thing I want to do is restart my sinking funds. I have not done this. I didn't do this all last year. I had money saved back here and there for different things, but I didn't put it in my sinking funds. I have a little divider, I guess you would call it, where I put everything in there. I want to implement that again. I will be sharing that at the end of every month when I do resets. We're going to sit down. I'm going to share with you how the money is going to go into my sinking funds, and maybe it will motivate you a little bit to do sinking funds. If you don't know what sinking funds are, these are just short-term savings that you're doing that you're going to be pulling out pretty quickly. So for us, it's going to be like saving for birthdays and holidays. I need to save for a dishwasher, I need to save money in general. So different categories like that. Also, this year is a no-buy clothing year. I am going to be sharing in a future video. I did one last year. I had a ton of clothing, a ton of stuff. I will link the videos in the description box. Went through all of those, created uniforms, which I'm still wearing, but I need to get, well, I'll say this. I did buy a few things last year of clothing. I didn't go overboard though, but even from last year, I really didn't pare down my closet as much as I should have because some of those things I still haven't worn. So I need to pare it down even more, declutter it, and just create more uniforms for the year. Do like a capsule wardrobe. So that means I can't be tempted when I go into the thrift store to buy clothing. I'm not that tempted, honestly, to buy clothing, but I do have too many. I do have too many, and when I have too many of anything, it's harder for me to make a decision on what to wear. The next one I hope I can keep up with for the entire year. It's a no-buy home decor year. I have home decor, so much home decor. I'm going to be going through all of that. I'm going to be putting in categories, keep, sell, and donate. And it's all in my laundry room downstairs. I'm going to bring it upstairs because I want to put it in the closet in the foyer. I need for it to fit in there, all the home decor. And then throughout the year, go through that. Do no-buy, decorating my home, shop my home. I love videos like that. So I want to share more things like that and get creative with what I already own.
As I was editing this video, I realized I made an error when calculating my total debt. I forgot to include the computer Mr. C had to build for me last year when mine was beyond repair. I'm still paying it off, and after totaling everything, the new amount I want to pay off this year is $5,200. I could have left that out of the video, but I wanted to be transparent. Plus, I also want to be accountable to myself to get this paid off.
My home. I'm shifting my focus a little bit from buying decor to decorate my home to focusing more on projects that are going to add character to my home. And that's why I'm going to be embracing, as I mentioned, no-buy decorating, shop my home decorating, and getting creative with what I already own. While I want to do projects in my home, I'm going to do fewer projects. And by doing fewer projects, it means I can slow down, I can execute this better, I can plan, and I don't want to feel so overwhelmed that I need to do 10 projects in my home next year just to make videos. When I get that way, I feel rushed and I feel this anxiety come on me and I get very overwhelmed. So I am going to be doing less projects, but hopefully they're going to be projects that make a huge statement in my home. Another thing is I want to rely more on sponsorships to be able to beautify my home without me going over budget, without overspending. So it may be where I am working on a project in my home and a sponsor reaches out to me for beautiful drapes, a rug, even artwork. That way I can share what these sponsors have to offer. Maybe you've been interested in some of these sponsors, but you've never purchased from them and you're like, I don't know if I want to purchase from them. But I do like working with sponsors that align with what I'm doing with my home, which is making it very functional, very beautiful, and just creating a style that's me. And my motto for 2025 when it comes to my home is if I can do it myself, I'm not going to pay anyone to do it. This will really empower me to take on projects myself and at the same time keeping my cost very low. There's a lot of things I will pay for. I can't do electrical. A lot of plumbing I probably can't do. And even when it comes to laying tile in my foyer, that's something I am going to pay for. But there are other projects here that I know if I did my research, I could accomplish myself. And I only want to buy the materials I need for these projects while I'm in that stage of the project. I don't want to go out and buy paint if at the moment I'm working on flooring. That just doesn't make sense, but I get so excited and I get all these ideas in my head. I go ahead and purchase the materials. And as I mentioned, some of these materials are sitting down in my utility room. So I'm going to do first and then buy later. To accomplish these projects this year, I am setting aside money for projects. As I mentioned, I am a reseller, and I'm going to be allocating a small percentage of what I earn every month toward projects. And I can only use what's in my project sinking funds. I cannot go over that. So if I don't have enough saved up, then I'm not going to start on the project. For me, it's not worth getting ahead of myself or going in debt like I have just to make a video. This is real life. This is real life. And there are times you have to save up for stuff. You don't have all these funds to do these projects like you see a lot of people on YouTube do. And they may not even have it. They may be going into debt for it. So don't ever look at someone's home or the projects they're doing and think they're doing it all with cash, or they don't have sponsors, because we do get sponsors. And a lot of people, just like I mentioned with me, I went into debt, which is ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. So don't do that. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't compare yourself. And that's something, I have been trying to work on for years. Comparison is the thief of joy. Next, I want quality over quantity. Just like with my home decor, I would pick up so much home decor, but then after a while I'm like, it's a little cheap. And that's why I don't like trendy things. I heard one interior designer say one time, trendy becomes tacky after a while. So I want classic. I want things that never go out of style. I want things that make a statement, but I don't want trendy. I've gone down that route, oh my goodness, years ago. I had so much stuff that was trendy and I didn't like it. But I was seeing what other people on Instagram and Pinterest and all these videos on YouTube, very trendy, mass marketed items. Then after a while, your home starts looking like everyone else's. So while a lot of people may not like my style, I love it. I like to say that I like to style my home where it brings me joy. And now it may not bring joy to other people, but honestly, I think if you style your home for a feeling, other people will feel it when they walk through the door. Next, I want to work on my life, my health, and my mental health. First thing is, and I know I can do this, 30-minute workouts at least 5 times a week. 7 would be great. I'm gonna go with 5 for now. At least 30 minutes. Now, when I say workouts, I don't mean running a marathon, circuit training. I mean going outside and walking for 30 minutes, going downstairs and using my Precor for 30 minutes, doing some yoga for 30 minutes, moving my body, really moving my body. And I like to aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. I got away from that for a while, but I know that even if you put that as your goal, as 10,000 steps a day, that's fantastic. Because if you wear an Apple Watch, sometimes if you glance, you're like, oh my goodness, I walked only 2,000 steps today. 10,000, I know it's a big goal for some people, but I know for me, if I were to walk an hour, I could probably get that 10,000 steps in. So walking is simple, it's very good for you, and you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to buy any special equipment, maybe just some good shoes. Yeah, you could do that. And getting out in the sunshine, that's another thing for mental health. Getting sunshine, getting that vitamin D, especially in the morning. There's a certain time of morning if you're out there, and I've heard don't wear sunglasses because you really want to get that vitamin D into your system. And I think that really helps improve mental health, especially during the winter time. There are areas in my life I want to simplify, like my makeup, my skincare, even down to the cleaning products I use. I want the least amount of things that I am using, because in turn, that'll mean I'm not spending as much money. I think about when my mother used to clean. She didn't have a lot of products. And the thing is, there really wasn't a ton of products on the market anyway. She had Comet, Pine Sol, Dawn dish detergent, maybe Windex, I don't even know. Indust, I remember the Indust. Always had her SOS pads. She may have used white vinegar. Honestly, it wasn't a lot, and our home was spotless. Our home was never dirty. So I'm going to use all my cleaning products that I have. And I have some that can do double duty. I found some in the utility room that if you mix with water, they're concentrated. Forgot I even had them. I'm going to use everything I have with cleaning products before I go out and buy more. But for me, it's about streamlining everything and just making it simple. At night, scrolling at night, I will usually say, I'm gonna go to the bedroom, write my schedule. I drink my sleepy time tea at night. And I'm like, I'm just going to decompress for a while. I'm just gonna watch a few YouTube shorts. And then before you know it, an hour is gone. And then I say to myself, I wish I had time for this. I wish I had time for that. I do have time for it, but I'm scrolling, wasting my time. Instead of me scrolling and just wasting time, I want to learn stuff. I love watching YouTube videos where I can learn things. I want to learn things like how to give myself a proper manicure and pedicure. Remember, my motto, if I can do it myself, I'm not going to pay someone else to do it. And I even quit wearing my press-on nails. I've just gone natural. When I was doing so many projects last year, my nails kept breaking off anyway. And after a while, I'm like, you know what, forget it. I remember my mother had the most beautiful nails. And all she did was push the cuticles back, she filed them, and she used clear nail polish, and kept her hands, lotion all the time on them. That was it. And she had beautiful nails. And I'm like, I don't need to do all this. And it's just one less thing I have to do. And also I want to learn how to put on my lashes. I have a drawer full of lashes that I've had over the past few years. I have the worst time putting them on, but I do like wearing them. I think it just adds a little something to my eyes. Because I know if I can just put on lashes, a lot of times I won't put on any eyeshadow because it just adds to the eyes. It's kind of like lifts your eyes up. And the older I get, I'll take all the lifting I can get. But I also want to learn how to do the backsplash in my kitchen. I don't want to pay someone for it. I have all the materials. I want to learn how to do that myself. I want to learn how to sand the floor in my kitchen. I don't want to pay someone to do that. I even want to learn how to do a small herb garden. I've gotten, not a lot, but a few plants in my sunroom now that I have been doing really well with. So I really want to try to do an herb garden. And these things would just be fun for me. They're things that will enrich my life. And they may not enrich yours, the things I'm telling you, but if you sit down and think, okay, what is it I've always wanted to learn? What is it I want to do? So instead of scrolling at night, instead of watching movies at night, try to enrich yourself. I think that is very fulfilling, and I want to do things in my life that bring me joy. The next is I want to revive my blog. I do have a blog. The funny thing is I had a blog 15 years ago, 18 years ago. I had no idea how to write for a blog, how to get monetized for a blog, no idea. But I still wrote on it. I really didn't get a lot of readers. And then I started it up again a few years ago, and then I stopped. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't have time to write a blog post with the videos for this channel. They'll kind of intertwine together. And I thought, yes, you do. At night, instead of scrolling, you can write your blogs, your blog post. And I think that's what I'm going to start doing again. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best writer. I have gotten better over the years. A lot of times I'll let Mr. C proofread them. He's really great about things like that. But it's something I enjoy as well. And I even noticed that my blog is starting to make a little bit of money, even though I haven't posted in probably 2 years. But some of it is evergreen content, and I do post those on Pinterest. So I think Pinterest is bringing them over to my blog. So I'm thinking, okay, I do have time. I can do this in the evening. I can sit down and write a blog post. So I think I'm going to start reviving those. And with this video, there may even be a blog post in the first pinned comment. Who knows? I also want to read at night. I am not a big reader. I love audiobooks though. During the day, as I'm working on something, I love to listen to an audiobook because honestly, and this may be a good thing, when I read at night, it's like melatonin to me. I can't read for very long. And I noticed that, and I've started doing it for the past week, I've been reading about 30 minutes before I go to sleep. I will sit down with my cup of Sleepy Time tea, I'll put on a little light jazz music, and then I will read. And I've noticed it's very soothing, it's very calming. And that is something I really want to implement every night, even if it's just for 30 minutes, which I have started doing. I've done it now for a couple of weeks, and I love it. I love it. I make my sleepy time tea, I get my book out, and in about 30 minutes, I'm tired. For me, it's almost like instant melatonin. That's why I can't read during the day. During the day, I love my audiobooks. I love listening to an audiobook as I'm cleaning, as I'm working on a project. But at night, reading a book is, like I said, melatonin. Establishing better routines. I do have a morning routine. I think I'm going to have to tweak it. I think I'm going to get it even earlier than what I already do, because I have so much I want to accomplish. And the morning hours, I love the morning hours. I don't have small children though, so it's not like I have to rush to get the kids ready or that they bother me early in the morning. I just love being up in the morning by myself. I love it. I love sitting down on the sofa. I read my Bible, I drink my coffee, I pray. But I'm realizing that I also like to edit early in the mornings. I love it. I love to edit videos early in the morning, because I noticed that as the day goes on, I mess up a lot as I'm editing. So I thought, okay, now that I am zoning in on, like in the morning, I do this better. In the afternoon, I do this better. In the evening, I do this better. By tracking my energy levels, I have noticed what I do better. And I think I need to change my morning routine and my evening routine to accommodate all of this. And I will be sharing how I came up with my morning routine and my evening routine in a future video. The number one way I think I'm going to be able to accomplish all of this, to get everything done that I want to get done for my home, my life, and my finances, is by slowing down, which may sound counterintuitive, but I have noticed for me, the faster I move, the faster I make decisions, I end up making mistakes, having regrets, and not feeling good about the decisions I made. Now, slowing down doesn't mean doing less. It means focusing on the things that matter and giving those things my attention. And I want to be more thoughtful in my decision making, whether it's a home project, my reselling business, styling my home. I want to take time to plan, execute, and finish these things before I start something else. And slowing down is going to help me with my impulse buying, which in turn will help me with my finances, which in turn will help me with my mental health. So you see, it's all intertwined. Slowing down, being intentional, that's how I want to be this year. I think the Navy SEALs say it best. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. My interpretation of that is slowing down, thinking, and being intentional and aware of what you're doing. And as you're doing that, things will run smoothly. But if you're quick to make decisions, if you're quick with impulse buying, if you're quick to buy this stuff before you even start the project, you're going to end up messing up. You're going to have regrets. You're going to have mistakes, whether that's with your finances, with working on a project, and then you have to go back and you have to try to correct all of that. So by slowing down, things run more smoothly. Your life runs more smoothly. We're all in such a hurry to do so many things. And slowing down is the key for me for 2025.
I'm excited to share my journey during this year of change and growth. My hope is that by openly discussing the areas of my life that need improvement, it might inspire you to reflect on areas in your own life that could use some attention. None of us are perfect, and we never will be, but that's not the goal. Instead, I believe the focus should be on striving for fulfillment, joy, and a sense of accomplishment, rather than chasing an unattainable standard of perfection. I look forward to these changes because they're not just about checking things off of a list. They're about creating a life that feels balanced, intentional, and fulfilling.